And so, John, I hope we want to take a second for you to tell us a bit more about like what we're calling the casual luxury shopper.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Glenn and I, when we were talking about this, I just said, like, we've got to learn a little bit more about who these people are driving this growing trend of casual luxury shoppers. And so we took a list of those terms, those searches that Glenn identified as containing some of the more casual luxury apparel items like hoodie and sweatshirt and sneakers. We took a look at all of those terms that were driving visits to those luxury sites that PMX had put together. And then we created an audience around them in our audience view platform. So we said, they had to have searched for these casual luxury terms and visit a luxury site, and then we can profile them. So we ran a profile snapshot report, and we learned that there are about 500,000 Americans over the last 6 months or so that fall into this luxury casual shopper set. And that's about 5% of all luxury shoppers, but a pretty significant number of consumers. And I'm sure that number would be significantly higher if we were looking at a period covering the holiday seasons. As we know, that a lot of purchases go up significantly. So 500,000 is a pretty good baseline number, and I'm sure it would grow in the next few weeks. But what we learned about them is that they're primarily ages 18 to 24. I think well over a third of them are in that age group, and that means that they're about 50% more likely to be, Gen Z or tail end millennials. We also see it naturally among people of that age group. They're more likely to be students, or 50% more likely to be students. We also profiled them via their mosaic segment type, and we saw that the aspirational fusion segment rose to the top with the highest index at about 160 or so. And that's a segment that's very urban. They are young, often single. Sometimes they're parents, but kind of young parents. The other thing that we know about the aspirational fusion is that they are aspirational. They don't really have necessarily significant funds to provide them with the things that they're seeking, but they do save some of their money and get some of those key items. And it makes sense that they're looking at some of the lower end, like hoodies, sweatshirts, and fanny packs, so they can have a piece of luxury, and that can be something that grows with them over time. We also know that they're more likely to be gamers, they're more likely to be early adopters and very tech savvy. Another interesting thing, even when compared to other luxury shoppers who we know to be fairly celebrity influenced, this group is even more likely, 40% more likely to say that things like, I'm more motivated to buy products if I see my favorite celebrity using them and whatnot. And then another big piece, and I know Glenn is going to talk about this in just a couple of slides, is that these are really the group that are highly social media focused. Instagram, they're going to follow their favorite brands and repost and review and share their feedback and thoughts about different brands. So this, when we're talking about the kind of the luxury social media consumer, these are really the audience who are probably going after most significantly.